I'm Professor Yudi Achibong. I'm Director of the Center for Inclusion and Diversity here, and I have strategic lead for equality and diversity across the institution. Thank you. Rosa Parks was literally a dream that happened in 2005 as soon as Rosa died on the 25th of October 2005. As the Director for the Center of Inclusion and Diversity, I felt that we needed to mark this icon, because the center and the work that we do was embodied in this person. And we felt that we needed to have a way of actually getting the world to see how what Rosa Parks stands for can support the work that we do in a university that thrives in confronting inequality and celebrating diversity. So in 2005, 1st of December, this journey started.
1st of December 1955, Mrs. Rosa Parks, an African-American seamstress, was arrested in Alabama for not standing and letting a white bus rider take her seat. As all of you know the background, it was an established rule in the American South at that time that African-American riders had to sit at the back of the bus.
How Rosa got up and said, "I'm fed up, I've had enough of this." I'm sure she would have been traveling that bus in Montgomery for a long time, but on that day she said, enough is enough. This year was really important for us because as a woman of African descent myself, being aware of the International Year and looking in the media, it was so invisible about how people across the world were actually celebrating this year.
Again, you look at Leeds, Bradford, Halifax, not so much Halifax, and I don't mean to be discrediting Halifax, but you look at the communities, the African descent community that runs through all those communities, and tell me one community or one town or city that we are galvanized, organized, promoting our culture and challenging the local authorities or the police systems or anything else like that, challenging it collectively. It isn't happening. Navi Pillai, which is the High Commissioner of Human Rights, she said, "We double our efforts to fight against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, related intolerance that affect people of African descent everywhere." I also think we've got to do that within our own communities as well. It isn't about simply, well, white people are discriminating against us and black people don't. We have our own issues within our own cultural and communities.
But I thought, okay, if Rosa Parks stood for what she stood for, and here we are redoubling our efforts around racism and stopping xenophobia, what a fantastic way to bring that event along with, and also an opportunity to actually round up the year in a good light.
My philosophy has always been from, there's a Socrates quote, it says, "An unexamined life is not a life worth living." And Malcolm X said that an examined life is painful. We need to look at diversity and inclusion and things like this. I applaud those words wholeheartedly. But I have to argue that I think it goes much deeper. How much do we feel? You know, are we humanitarian? Or are we simply just playing the game?
I think Rosa Parks taught us that an action can be instigated by anybody. The power of Rosa Parks as a one person that actually changed the civil rights movement in the US, and how that impacts on the way we do things. She also taught me something about inclusion, that inclusion is deliberate. You cannot just sit down and allow it to happen to you.
Rosa Parks herself, she's my role model, you know. Why that? Because as an individual, she made a difference. And there is a lady from this country, who's Margaret, who said, no doubt that a small group of committed citizens can make a difference. I do add to that that an individual can make a difference.
It was quite interesting to see what people actually think identity is, and I think we need to really lose the black and white colouring and start identifying ourselves with a continent.
I'm David Odenukwe. I work currently at Voluntary Action Leads in community development. It's inspiring as usual, especially The range of comment, the fact that the young people are understanding the diversity that is within us, and I think that's a very powerful understanding.
You know, I've received a lot out of the, you know, conference today, and I'm hoping to reach out to the young people, because I've worked with people of all ages, you know, from young people to the elderly.
We all have to get up and engage. There has to be that deliberate attempt and conscious engagement with the agenda. We're not going to be able to resolve issues in one go, because it's been hitting us for a very long time.
We need to be much more visible in education. We have children that have been in this country for the best part of 50 years now, and we are still invisible. Community regeneration. The 70s and 80s, when there's thriving communities that we had, have all but disappeared now. Those need to come back. And please, rights of minority women, when you look at the 9 treaties of the Human Rights Act, the women and minority women, you cover about 7 of them. Maybe this challenge is going to start from minority women.
I pray that we're not going to use a long time to resolve it, but it's going to be one step at a time, because this is about people of African descent. In Africa, we have a lot of proverbs. There is one that says that a journey of 1,000 kilometers starts from 1 kilometer, and I think that's what Rosa did. Rosa took the step. And can you see there is a saying which says that Rosa sat so that Martin Luther King can walk. And then because Martin Luther King Jr. walked, Obama is now where he is and he's running. So I'm just wondering if we could also let our children know that they can fly, because people like Rosa Parks had sat. I mean, people stand to be recognized. She sat down to be recognized. So my message is that we all need to do something, no matter how little. It's positive. The problem is where we sit back and not engage. That's the problem.